I get a lot of questions about my films as to why I don't do any audio commentaries or making of or behind the scenes videos. Simple answers really. We've only ever done short films, so any audio commentaries I do, as soon as I get through the intro, half the movie's over. And for behind the scenes stuff, if I had spare set of hands on set, I'd get them to do more important stuff like, holding the boom or helping with lighting. So what I'd like to do today, sort of like break down my short films Still Alive in sort of a hybrid between audio commentary and behind the scenes. Triple H Productions, that's me, Renee and Mason. Also the bar that we always used to meet up and discuss our film projects. So it's a little in-joke like most film production company names are. Here about seeing my cameo. I have a rule for cameos. I'm only going to cameo in the movie if I die. That's my arm there. If I was a better stuntman, I had myself falling down the steps, that'd been a bit more impactful. And see Lydia Sarks here playing the spy, or secret agent. You can tell that because she's got a drawer full of guns instead of kitchen utensils. Also Mad Alco. Now Nick pitched this idea as a big old fight scene, and we had the location, we had the two actors, so those are the most important parts. And you see this angle that we use here, or camera lens, it's a bit too obvious for me, so it's like super widescreen. So obviously when you see this shot, you know something's up. If I was going to have another crack at it these days, I use a bit more of a subtle lens, but still works, still gets the point across. Pinky, she wasn't happy about that, but it was the best camera move. You see a bit of shadow there, and Boomski's we're into it. So around this time when we were making this movie, Wonder Woman and Atomic Blonde was sort of coming out. So this was like our version of like a female empowerment, sort of strong action lead, and Lydia really stepped up for this. I had no idea what sort of capabilities she'd have as a martial artist. It turns out she's really, really good, and Nick's always up for it. So that's the hardest part about doing fight choreography, is sort of getting the actors and actresses to bring the right energy in there. Because anyone can learn the choreographed moves, but if you're not doing it and meaning it and swinging for the fences, that's the hardest part. Bit of spy dialogue here. Weren't using their actual names because I don't think they could come up with any other spy names. It was just easier that way. We didn't know if this universe is going to expand on that at all. People ask if action's harder to direct than a regular scene. Because we've had so much practice, I don't think so. It's just a matter of getting the right angles. The easiest way to do it is have a two-shot of people in it, get them side on in the Mortal Kombat angle, one where it's over the shoulder, and then the reverse. That way you've got three angles covered for each of the moves, and those are all I really need. Yeah, we want to incorporate a bit of Krav Maga, a bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so those arm bars and choke holds that are pretty trendy at the moment, as well as incorporate all that sort of fast kung fu fighting that I'm into. So here we see a pretty good, I think it's a triangle choke here. If I was to do this again, I probably wouldn't have him fire off the rounds too many times, because in his kitchen they'd be totally deaf. So that's a neat little bit. I mean, you rewind this, you see he's got the full knife in this shot. Hint that there's knife, okay? All you have to do is suggest that there's a knife in the scene, and when we go to the next shot, the stab, swap out the knives. He's just got a handle there. You can't really tell. Knife, and boom. Moves so fast, can't really see it until you freeze frame it like that. I believe they use the same trick in The Punisher. The other important part, reacting. If Lydia's not there selling it like she just got stabbed, that's when it's going to start looking fake. And this shot here, I remember seeing in Blade 2, Guillermo del Toro said that getting stabbed hurts, but also removing the knife also hurts. So if you show both when it's in and when pulling out, that'll also get a double cringe from the audience. Put a gnarly sound effect on it. We only had a day to shoot this. Like, show up at 10 in the morning, and I think we got out there at 10 at night, and we didn't start filming till later, so maybe 8 hours max. If I had more time, I would have done a bit more knife choreography here, because once she pulls it out, she just goes for the stab. These days, maybe block, clear, this way, that way, a couple more slashes just to make it more interesting, but had a time limit. What's really cool about Nick's character here, we really wanted to show character through action and emotion through gesture. He's taken all the shortcuts to kill Lydia here. Tries to sneak up behind her, shoot her in the back of the head. If she's got an injury, he's going to exploit it. So you'll see it later on. He stomps at her foot. He's just going for all the shortcuts because Lydia is the superior fighter. So I really think you get a good judge of character here. So back's against the wall. How's she gonna get out of this? He's exploiting her wound. Find a weapon, and we'll show you how we did the glass. It's quite similar to how we did the knife. First, just show the glass, real glass. She reaches for it, grabs it, and the next shot we cut, swap it out for the fake glass. Now, people with budget can go get molds made of actual glass, whiskey glass, and make sugar glass or fake glass that you can smash over people's heads. We didn't have the money or equipment to create our own sugar glass, so what I did, I'd never done this before, but it works out pretty good. I just got a Pepsi bottle, plastic Pepsi bottle, cut it up and filled it with the broken pieces as well as some ice. This ice is very reflective, and what Mason and Renee did with the lighting, lit from the top, so when the light hits the glass, all the ice and the plastic is going to shine like real glass. So when you see it happen, looks like real glass. Cheap tricks. If I had this moment again, I'd do like super cool push-ins, like those trailer shots, like they're about to go at it, and we didn't really get that here. That triple shot, that triple punch there, it's the same move shown 3 times. I use it in a sort of action replay sort of thing, like a replay inside of a replay, just to really exaggerate the move. You'll see Van Damme does it a lot with his splits kick, usually because he's run out of footage and he doesn't have enough fight scene, so he has to stretch out the fight scene even longer. I first used it way back in Sam and Bozzy during a torture scene. These 2 goons are wailing on Bozzy, and I just only had several punches and I needed it expanded out longer, so it's like a mini action replay I used. Later again used it in the Gorners to a similar sort of effect. We had run out of footage, but now it's sort of, we had the choice of angles, we had plenty of footage, but I chose to put it in there again because it's sort of become our calling card now, the action replay of the same punch. The action reaction. Remember, she just got stabbed in the arm, so even though she hit him with it, she's starting to feel the effects of it. That's an interesting bit there. Went primarily very handheld, not a shaky cam, but just move the camera a little bit to exaggerate the power, and that makes those punches look extra brutal. Also, what I did is insert just this tiny piece of Nick cocking the hand back just to shake up the rhythm of the scene and make it much more violent, because George Miller does it in the Mad Max movies. Whenever you see someone's eyeballs popping right before for an impact, it makes the impact even bigger because it sort of throws what you're watching off a little bit. So when you see the big move, there's always like a little flash of something in between there. And it's right here where Nick cocks his arm. there. And I think that works really well. Also working a lot with counteractive camera moves. So if the actors are going that way, the camera's going this way and following them, just to sort of move the background as well as the actors. Because this move here without the counter camera move was a little bit boring. So we had one person go the other way, cameraman goes the other way, the action goes this way. So it's a big switcheroo. Looks pretty neat. Told Nick here, okay, you're chopping down a tree. There you go, character through action again. Stomps on her bare feet. He's taking shortcuts to take her down. We'll talk about the script a little bit really quickly. It came in and it was much more into the spy thing. Nick originally had the garrote wire in the watch to choke her out with. She originally kills him with a lipstick grenade in the nose. And because we don't have any of that sort of tech and we don't want to make any of that sort of tech, we had to change the script up a little bit. I suggested, how about you use one of your shoelaces, because that's pretty gnarly, pretty grungy. And death by shoelace, who'd have ever seen that coming? And then we changed it to a shotgun death, just to make it a bit more real, a bit more street, about the streets. Hits him with his own shoe. I like that. There's another thing that changed. Originally it had like a little light, so she threw the shoe at a button and the light bing turns on. Instead we just changed it to spring loaded there. And this is a device that Mason made. So you'd pull back on the shotgun launcher and you'd let go and the shotgun would launch across the room. Double cut there, show the launch twice, because I edit out of continuity for fight scenes. So I'll show the same punch twice almost, but from when you change the angle, that extra couple of frames of the same punch coming in is to adjust so the audience knows a new shot has been a new shot has arrived. It just flows better that way, because the gun launch in continuity, so see, it's already launched and this shot hasn't been launched yet. So show it twice, show it 3 times, and the audience will put it together like they just seen it once. See? Seen it 3 times, but at regular speed it works as 1. And that's that. That's the end of Nick. If I was going to really pump up the realism, you'd have to fill the room with smoke, because the shotgun blasts tend to be a lot smokier than the rest, and inside a kitchen, she'd be deaf. So, but it's just a movie, not a documentary. This is one of my most favourite compositions ever, because there's a lot of cool elements happening here. We've got the reveal of Mitch coming out of the shadows, much like Jack Nicholson as the Joker in the first Batman. And the composition itself is very cool. We've got the blood on the right, the shotgun launcher on the left, and Mitch making his grand entrance right in the middle. It's just a really cool shot. We had the same lighting set up the whole day. So we had that big light shining in from the left and had the Venetian blinds in between to give it that sort of noirish look. But that lighting stayed the same the whole day. So when I arrived, it was daytime. When I left, it was nighttime. So I suddenly got tired as soon as I left the house. I just suddenly oh wow, I've just been working all day and I'm about to pass out. But when you're in there, you just got like unlimited energy. It's the weirdest thing that we just sort of figured out with the lighting. If the lighting doesn't change, you don't change. You don't know when it's becoming nighttime. It's really weird.
Did you say that when you killed him? You should have. That would have been funny. Well, It was lovely seeing you, but it's business and it's a lot of money, so you understand.
Just because we only had plastic guns, training actors to move like the guns have weight to them, that's another trick to make your props look real. If they wave it around like it's an actual plastic gun, it's not going to have the weight of a real gun. So when I was talking to Mitch, I said, don't wave the gun around like a magic wand. Pretend there's a bit of weight to it. I said, tense your arm like you're flexing, and you won't be able to move it as quickly as you normally would. So I tried to just like bring up the realism of the props as well. So that's another important thing. If you don't have the real stuff, you're gonna have to pretend you've got the real stuff.
Fired a shotgun, so I'm pretty sure everyone knows.
It's not for them, it's for me. I have sensitive ears.
I think that was an improv, and what I like to do with improvs, a frame later, Mitch starts cracking up because that improv tickled him. I like to hold on the gag as long as the actor will let me. So if they start bursting out laughing, that's when I cut, but I just try and hold on it as long. You can just see him starting to smirk. The old safety gag, I can't use that one again, I've used it way too many times. This death's something we figured out on the day. I didn't really know how to shoot it, so I'd say Nick and Mason and Renee sort of figured it out. And I'll give them like a little directing credit for this couple of shots, because I didn't have it in my head. I suggested she smack the cabinet and have the knife fall down into her hands, but I just didn't have a clear idea of how to shoot it, so those three guys and girls came up with the way to film it. Excellent sell here. Mitch had this trick of just knocking his head back, freezing in that position and letting himself do a tombstone fall right behind without looking. It's a pretty hard thing to do. So I did it the first time. We laid down some pillows, of course. Did it the first time. I thought, that's hilarious. Let's go again. But Mitch, kick your feet up so we can see it, then it'll be funnier. My only problem with that gag is in terms of escalation and finishing on the highest kill or death or car crash, you want your last kill to be your most epic. I'm not too sure if that one beats the shotgun in the head, because it's a shotgun in the head, his head is just blown away, and this one the knife just goes here. To escalate the gruesomeness and make this the real big send-off, I would have had it go through his glasses and into his eye, and then maybe finish on that. But we don't know how to do that. If we do it again, maybe. Still alive? Question mark. Leaving it open for a sequel. I think the backstory for this is like Lydia's character's on the run and she's got all these assassins after her. Kind of like that middle act of John Wick 2. And we just sort of did it that way, but made it more personal, and seeing how all three characters in this sort of have a relationship with one another. If we were to make a sequel or expand it into a feature, we definitely have to move away from the John Wick 2 sort of stuff and really make all the characters intertwined and make it different that way, because all the people after John Wick, more or less, they don't have any sort of connection to him. Let's make it a bit more personal for Still Alive, the feature film. So when we were filming, I had a very clear out in my head of how to finish the movie. She pulls away, the credits come up, cut to black. I originally wanted the credits floating behind her head, and you just sort of, as she moves, you just reveal Still Alive already there, but we were leaning into the typing angle, and that worked for us as well. Nowadays, if I was to have another crack at it, I'd have, the CRT lines going through the words and just have a bit of like a bumpy sort of shake. And that's that. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll have some more of these videos for you if I can think of anything else to say about my previous films, and see you on the next one.